Hello, everybody. I released a video yesterday about veterans and namely their experiences once they leave the armed forces of this country, Army, Navy, Air Force. In that video, I mentioned, these guys and girls go to places that some of us would never want to go to and see and experience things that none of us ever should. And they do that out of a sense of duty, out of a sense of honor, and out of a sense of a calling to serve and, wanting to do the right thing by their fellow soldier, their fellow man, their fellow woman, and at the end of the day, the country for which they serve. And what do they get in return? Injured, mental health issues, various other things. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's probably many a soldier who gets through his career relatively unscathed and goes on to lead productive life, but that's not always the case. Are you a soldier? Are you an airman or sailor? Subscribe to the channel because there's going to be a little bit of content coming out on this. There seems to be a brewing scandal all to do with war disability pensions, or more commonly known, war pensions. You come out of the Army, Navy or Air Force and you're retired through disability or something else happens in your life and you need help. You need to be able to live. And that's where the military, that's where the MOD, that's where Veterans UK should come in and assist those that fall by the wayside because of life-changing issues they picked up in the service of their country. Now, it should be quite simple. Apply for a disablement pension and then get it. Well, it's not always the case. I brought you a couple of examples of that yesterday. Now, I have a good friend of mine on YouTube, Russ, who is known to everybody as absolutely average. We've met several times. I know what he is. I know what he's about. He's a great friend of mine, and he's going through the ringer right now. With his permission, I've got a couple of pictures here to show you. This is Russ when he was in the Army. If anyone looks at absolutely average, you can see the face behind the beard there. And also, here is another picture of him on deployment with the UN. And from memory, that was in Bosnia. Now, he looks very young there. He's in his 50s now, but he was in his late teens to early 20s when he served in the Army. And like many other people that serve in places like Bosnia, Afghanistan, Iraq, Northern Ireland even, they're left with certain issues which they have to deal with. And Russ is certainly one of those. It lives with them every day. They need a lot of support. And some of them get it, some of them don't, some of them are lent on, some of them aren't. It's awful the way the situation these veterans are left in. I did receive an email from a veteran who had a very heart-wrenching tale to tell, but has asked me to keep quiet on it for now, and I will. Hopefully, they'll be able to tell me some more in time. And I've had another couple of emails as well. Please, if you do email in and I don't respond to you straight away, please just leave a comment. Just alert me to the attention that you have emailed me and I will respond. I get overwhelmed with emails every day, but I want to, make a special point, special priority of getting back to these veterans when they come in. Some of your comments now, which come in on that video yesterday, were true important as well. I'll make this full screen. Ian Williamson, this is awful. An immigrant is given benefits without issues, yet a loyal veteran is treated like dirt. Makes my blood boil. When you see veterans living rough on the streets, broken and ignored, while immigrants are staying in 4-star hotels and giving 3 meals a day, where's the respect and justice for the men and women who are putting their lives at risk? You're absolutely right, Ian. It's all backwards and all wrong. Carol, as a military wife, it breaks my heart and how badly some of our veterans suffer. And equally, the military wives at home can suffer as well. I mean, I remember hearing a story. My father served in Northern Ireland in the early 70s, just after Bloody Sunday. He was on deployment over there. I think they called it an emergency deployment, so you can imagine the circumstances at the time. Anyway, my mum and my dad had a had an arrangement whereby my dad at set periods would phone up to say, hello, I'm safe, I'm okay, and have a chat. This is in the days before we had mobile phones and emails and all that sort of thing. Anyway, one time he didn't make his scheduled phone call. And obviously, my mother starts to think all sorts. What the hell? Then on the telly, she gets word via the news that 3 military policemen have lost their lives in Northern Ireland, which is exactly what my dad was. And eventually, of course, there was a happy ending. My dad made contact and said, I'm okay. I'm okay. So you can imagine the fear and anxiety caused at home as well. It's not a good situation at all. Now, let's have a look at some more comments. John Birch, the ex-soldier who lost an arm and a leg, has been refused a blue badge. It's a disgrace. Absolutely. Do you know more on that, John? Let me know. Let's blow the whistle on that too. 11 crafty cats. Why would anyone want to join and serve a country that's gone down the pan and then get treated so badly when you're out? Yeah, and you wonder why the recruitment numbers are down when you have the idiocy that goes on in the halls of Westminster. Bubble wubble fubble wub. They're also very good at losing medical records. Now I can imagine just so they don't have to pay out, which is something I've been told by a veteran in confidence. Adrian Kassan, sad but true. This raises the questions: why should one join the army? For whom should one sacrifice his or life and or health? Let's see if the privileged minority or rainbow people would jump to the privilege of defending this country. There's a famous American general, Hal Moore, fought in Vietnam and Korea, and he sadly passed away a few years ago now. Hell of a leader. And he said, at least from an American point of view, the soldier doesn't fight for country, flag, apple pie, mama, and something they see on TV when they're out there. They fight for each other. I don't know how much truth there is in that, but makes a lot of sense in my eye. Anyway, let's have a look at another one. Pippa, they should use footage of homeless veterans in the recruitment ads just to show how much the government appreciates their service. You do get a lot of mouthwash from those in the halls of power. We need firm action. People have tried. Tony, I am for my sins a disabled veteran. When my house burns down, none of the so-called organisations that are meant to be there to help veterans in need were willing to help me. I didn't qualify for emergency rehousing as I had a house. The fact that it was a burned out shell with no roof, power, heating, and was waterlogged doesn't enter into it. I left the military on a medical discharge after a horrific accident, which even the Veterans Agency counted me as 80% disabled. My compensation eventually came through 7 years later, and the government, via the Veterans Agency, took just over 20% of it in repayment as I was getting disability benefits. This was 128,465, taken at 480 a month. Their reasoning is that I can't be compensated twice for the same thing. So yeah, luckily I can rent privately. It's not cheap, but it's better than being on the streets. If I was an economic migrant, I would be given a house with no bills now, it seems. That same feeling across everybody. I'm so sorry, Tony. I'm so sorry. And, this does have to change. This really does. Stranger danger. My son wanted to be a soldier from 3 years old. So at 18, he joined up. He was treated terribly and paid very little. He still stood by it and became the man he is today. Long story short, he's a wreck at 29 years old and suffers terrible mental health issues, very suicidal on a daily basis. Luckily, he managed to get out. It's a good job he had me, or he wouldn't be here. He would be left to rot on the streets like so many others. No wonder nobody wants to serve this country anymore. God's prayers to all ex-veterans suffering. Just in that short cross-section of those few comments, you can see we have a massive, massive problem with this in this country. And it's got to give. Something somewhere has to give. Somebody needs to start listening. Somebody needs to start paying attention. I do have some political contact in the background, behind the scenes, and I have spoken to somebody about this, who, when they have their current, nightmarish schedule cleared, they said they hope they can start looking at this because they are emotionally interested. But and they have the ability to make things happen. But for now, what we can do is share this video, start getting these people to be brave enough to stand forward and talk, start making a big enough noise together, start making loud protests, I suppose, in the direction of power, and say, look, we are here, we do need the help, and you need to do a damn sight more about it, because we gave everything for you. It's as simple as that. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you are a veteran, please get in touch. If you want to see another one of my videos, there's one there for you. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button. I look forward to talking to you again soon. Toodaloo.